Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about KnightsEnd. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. Today we're going to be talking about KnightsEnd and what I thought of the story, which I've read many times. But this is the first time I've read it in this newer trade paperback collection. This is labeled Batman KnightsEnd. This is part of the 25th anniversary edition of Knightfall, which was 2019, 2018, a couple years ago. Was a 25th anniversary. Wow, 25 years. So I finally read it. So this includes a couple of things that had never been collected before in the older collections. It included both Aftermath issues with Robin and Catwoman, and also the Showcase 94 number 10, where you just kind of find out a little bit what happens to Jean Paul after Legends of the Dark Knight 63 part 10 of KnightsEnd. So what did I think? Well, I love this story. I mean, this is one of my favorite Batman stories because it's Batman versus Batman versus Batman and everything in between. You got Robin in here, you got Nightwing, you got Catwoman. It's like a who's who of the Bat family. And best of all, a lot of this book has my favorite Batman costume. This is my newest acquisition here. The red version, a little bit towards the end, but the blade capes and stuff. And then there's something I was talking about, I think in the Night Quest Part 2 Crusade Part 2, where I was describing how he uses those blades as a shield, and then he does it in the first issue, and I was like, there's the thing. I wish it was a little bit easier to find the last time I had mentioned it. So apparently that's what those are for. They're only ever used twice. One in Detective 675, I think, and yes. And then in this issue right here, this is, what is this? Yeah, Batman 509. So it's the only ever two times you really see him use it that way. So this really has Bruce Wayne doing the rehabilitation route that I thought The Search was going to contain. Now remember, when we read that book, The Search had absolutely nothing to do with Bruce healing his back, which is kind of what we'd been told, or I'd been told or read on the internet for the last 25 years or so. And it was in one panel, in one page, and the very end of the last book of that collection. And The Search overall was a pretty bad story. This actually has, like, the first 4 or 5 parts is Bruce training with Lady Shiva, trying to get his physical fitness back and his reflexes and muscle memory, all that stuff, getting it back. And she does it in kind of a cool way where it's not boring or blasé. Like, they skip most of the training where he's training with Shiva and jumps right to, like, the final test, this gauntlet she throws him. And she goes out in this bat mask, this Tengu Mask, as it's called. And this one right here. And this is also the mask that's on, like, the action figure that came out a couple years ago, or 10 years ago, from DC Direct as part of the Knightfall line. Anyway, she kills somebody in this mask, and then, like, he's a master sensei in martial arts. He's got no arms. He's just legs. And all his students basically come looking for the assassin, which is wearing this mask, and then she gives it to Bruce without him knowing that, hey, there's going to be a lot of people hunting you. So it kind of puts Bruce in a corner, back up against the wall, that he has to defend himself because it's life and death, because these other people think he killed their master, and it's, it's do or die kind of thing. And then she won't release him from any... tell him his training's complete until he actually tries or actually kills someone. And it's something like an ongoing conversation that's, separating Bruce from Jean Paul Valley, who's not really killed people, but let people die on purpose in the last volume of the Crusade with Abattoir. And then the cousin of Abattoir also dying as a result of him not saving Abattoir. Graham Etchison, I believe it was the character's name. But really, they're setting up this dichotomy in this storyline of, this armored Batman lets people die, and then regular Batman doesn't. Regular Batman saves people and chooses not to kill as a rule. And you know, Shiva's trying to break his one rule, as the Joker would say from The Dark Knight. So it eventually comes down to a head where Bruce appears to kill somebody, and then you have this wonderful like half issue with Nightwing and Robin like walking in at the exact right moment, almost as if like, you know, they walked in on Bruce having sex with somebody's mom, and they're just like, "What is this? What are you doing? Oh my gosh, I can't believe, Bruce, you've broken everything." And then Lady Shiva shows up and is like reveling in this chaos she's created amongst the Bat family, and it's just a really cool moment. I think it's part 5 of KnightsEnd. Really cool. And then she leaves and says, "Your training is complete. I have broken the Batman. I've made you kill. My job is done here." She leaves, and then the guy immediately starts like coughing, and they're like, "Oh, it was a feint." And he's like, "Yeah, I altered the deadly strike she taught me to you know, to make it appear like this guy was dead, or at least just passed out for a long, long time." And then everything's good again. But that I still like that part of the story, but I think it really picks up, obviously, at the end, the last 5 parts, where it's Batman versus Batman. And, you know, the first 5 parts, while you see Bruce training and stuff, you see, like, things are going downhill very fast for Jean Paul Valley. He's had, you know, in the Night Quest Crusade volumes, you had a couple issues here and there where you'd have a spirit come at him, whether it was the ghost of his father or the ghost of Saint Dumas, and he was just kind of like, what is going on? Well, they come at him a whole lot more in this issue, so they're really driving the point home that like he's lost it. There's complicating factors within him. This brainwashing of the system is kind of like, you know, combating him being in the Batman mask. So he doesn't know what to do with himself, because he's supposed to be Azrael, but at the same time, he really, really wants to be Batman. So he doesn't know how to take care of himself. So what Jean Paul Valley's doing in this first half is he's hunting down this guy who he thinks is still alive, Laha. Now, who is Laha? It's not explained in this issue at all. It's just like, this is the guy that killed my dad, and I'm going to go get this guy. Well, actually, Laha is in this right here, and I'm so glad I reread the Sword of Azrael miniseries. This is the Fallen Angel collection. I think this is a little bit more available than the older trade paperback that just collects the 4-issue Sword of Azrael miniseries. So it's in the Sword of Azrael miniseries here, where you meet Laha, and then like they kind of defeat him, and it's kind of left up to that. So if you really, really want to know who Laha is, pick up Sword of Azrael 1 through 4, or the Fallen Angel Volume 1 trade paperback, which is the only volume we're ever going to get, unfortunately. But it's all in here. He is this guy back here. So Jean Paul Valley is just chasing this mobster named Laha, whom we never see. We think he's dead. It's just all of his associates and stuff have now crawled out of the woodwork to do this arms deal in Gotham. So he's kind of like on a blood quest or something. Like he's like really, really driven. He's punching people really hard, saying, "Where's Laha? Where's Laha?" And they're like, "I haven't seen that guy in months, man." And he's like, "I don't believe you," because he's got these voices in his head that are helping drive him insane. And all this collides with Catwoman on a bridge in Gotham, and that's where everything kind of goes to crap. Batman shows up, and they're battling. There's a helicopter involved. It's a really cool couple of issues, that sequence there. And it's here, it's kind of weird, where the fuel from the chopper lands on both Batmen, and then because Jean Paul Valley has a flamethrower, he ignites it, and he's in his blue costume up until this point, right? He ignites it, falls into the water, shoots his grapple gun, comes back up the top, and then at the end of the issue, he's in the red costume. Now, on the video I did for this guy a couple of weeks ago, so one of the comments was like, "Yeah, the fire burned off the paint on the armor, and it's all red underneath." And that doesn't make any sense, my man. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Because, number one, well, the costume, this has got, you know, this is paint, so it's action figure. But to show this is a little bit harder for me to do than to show the costume. So just know that they're the same. Number one, in the art, the bat symbol is still black. His His yellow armor is still yellow. His pants are still gray. So none of the paint or whatever the heck that caught fire in that part of the costume, changed colors at all. So why the blue paint on the rest of his costume just withered away, and why it's red underneath? Like, most metal is, I don't know, I guess some sort of like a gray color when you cool it and stuff like that. So if you really wanted some like deeper explanation other than the editors and the colorists thought it would be cool to give him another costume evolution in this story, which is probably what the reality is, let's just go with the paint reacted to the intense heat of the fire and then turned the blue paint to red. And we'll just go with that. So just had to point that out. I thought it was so funny. I was like, let me reread KnightsEnd and keep a keen eye out for that to see if it was ever mentioned. And is it ever mentioned in here at all? None whatsoever. It's just something that happens in the story. And they don't even really acknowledge it. Like, why is he red now? There's no moment like that. And this culminates, you have Nightwing and Azbats going at it in a wonderful issue on a casino boat, or in a casino, with Graham Nolan drawing, and then you have the final climactic issue, which is called Climax, and this is in Legends of the Dark Knight number 63. This is the issue I have read and reread the most out of like every Batman issue I've ever owned, simply because I had it. So Legends of the Dark Knight number 63, this is written by Denny O'Neil and art by Barry Kitson. To me, this is like a very special issue because we've had volumes upon volumes with Graham Nolan on art, Mike Manley on art, Alan Grant, Doug Munch, Chuck Dixon on the writing team, and then here you have the Batman writer of all time, pretty much Denny O'Neil. The Batman, he was the editor of the Bat books at the time, so for him to come in and swing in on the last issue, and then bring in Barry Kitson along, who we had seen in some other art in one of the earlier volumes of this paperback set. I want to say it was like, maybe it was one of the Night Quest issues or a fill-in with Catwoman or something like that. But for him to come in and just turn in what he turned in on this issue, which is called Climax, is a this is just like the best. You had Brett Blevins in here doing his kind of weird, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't thing. You had Graham Nolan doing very, very awesome work in here. You also had Tom Grummett on the Robin issues doing a great job. But this was just like the creme de la creme in terms of art in this book, here by Barry Kitson, inks by Scott Hanna, and colorist Digital Chameleons. This is the digital colors are in the early 90s here. But there are so many iconic images in this book, in just this one issue for me, that stood out, and it on the thicker paper and like this newer printing, and just, brought back memories of me reading this issue alone in my childhood, going, there's two Batmen and they're fighting, and this guy killed people? What is going on? And man, his costume is awesome. Like, just, it got me. It got me so good. I loved every single second of it. And just the way that Bruce takes down Azbats is so cool, because they've had a big fight for a couple issues, and then it comes down to Bruce really outsmarting Jean-Paul Valley, of course, and using his wits to say, I need to disarm this guy. I need to get him to snap out of whatever he's into, whatever trance he's in. And he does it by making him take off the costume, even though, Jean-Paul Valley doesn't want to do that. He makes him do it without realizing it because the circumstances demand it. And then Bruce just kind of does something to make him take off his helmet. And then when he does, Jean-Paul Valley snaps out of it and realizes that, oh, you're Batman. You've always been Batman. And that moment is just so heartbreaking because, like, for the last, umpteen issues that we've been reading, you've had Jean-Paul Valley saying to himself, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman. And the whole fight on the bridge, he's yelling at Robin, at Nightwing, at Bruce, saying, only one true Batman. He's like beating Batman at moments, saying, tell me, there's only one true Batman. Tell me it's me. Tell me it's me. And he's like just so heartbroken at the end that he just kind of, Bruce lets him go and he just walks away. And then you have that, the final issue in this collection, the Showcase 94 number 10, where it's just Jean-Paul Valley just like hanging out under a bridge with some homeless people. Nothing really to say after that. He's just at the lowest of the low points and realizes he's walking away. He realizes he's just a person, and that's a start. That's something new. So I really, really love this Knight's End story. I think it's a great ending to a wonderful saga. And even if you don't like Azbats, I think you can read Knightfall. You can read like the first 3 trades that are in this collection, the Prelude, Knightfall Part 1 and Part 2, or Volume 1, Volume 2, I think they're called on the spines. And then you can jump to Knight's End if you really want to, but I highly encourage you to go read the Night Quest-ish volumes, the Crusade, especially Volume 1, Volume 2. I think you can skip the search, honestly. But I think I said that in my last review video for that one. But coming back here, this just feels like home. And I can't wait to read more, even though I know that I'm not going to enjoy Prodigal because I've never enjoyed Prodigal. So we are almost done with our read-through of these newer trade paperback volumes of the Knightfall collection, basically. We have Prodigal, which is next, which oddly enough takes place right after this book does. And then the last one, Troika, which I've never read. So looking forward to those. Thank you guys for watching. As always, like, comment, share down below. We will see you guys next time here in the Funny Pages.